This is Alex at Accessories International, and today we are in an ML63 AMG model, and we've just installed our 12.3-inch Android Command screen and replaced the stock screen with this new 12.3-inch screen that comes with all of the latest features: Apple CarPlay, Android Auto. You have the ability to stream movies, download games, use navigation. All of the latest is now in your new screen, and the best part, this screen comes with the air vents and a small digital display on the bottom as well, so you are able to use the functional air vents through this new included panel that we give you. You will not be blocking your existing AC panels that used to be on the left and right hand side of your smaller 7-inch screen. Those panels are now replaced with the panels that come in and install very sleekly. It looks OEM, and you'll be able to see everything from here. This install guide will also apply to ML, GL, GLS, GLE, basically any W166 chassis model Mercedes. It will also apply. It has the same interior, so you can follow the same video for the same install guide. Let's get right to it, and we'll show you how it's done. This is our DMP Mercedes Android screen setup for the ML models. This is going to include the entire kit, including all of the harnesses, the new AC vents, the screen, the brackets, everything you need. We're going to run through them one by one real quickly so you have a general idea of how it works. So over here, obviously, we have our new set of air vents. This is going to include a small display here as well, which you can have your clock, your Mercedes emblem, a variety of different displays you can have here. And then these are functional vents to get your AC from, so the new big screen doesn't block your existing AC vents. Obviously, this is our 12.3-inch Android screen. Here we have a set of harnesses. This is going to be our LVDS harness. So as you can see here, this connection will be used to connect into your original LVDS connector that will come out of the back of your Mercedes display. This is so that you can still see all of the original Mercedes interface on the new screen, so you can access the old settings, the menus, all that type of thing. This is our main harness. You have these two big T connectors. They're the square harnesses here, two sides. One will plug into the back of the Mercedes radio here, and the other will have the original Mercedes harness that comes out of the radio plugged into this end. We also have the power connector, bring the screen power here. This is the white end. All these other connections are for rear camera inputs. Here we have our audio out cable. This will be run to the center console storage box, and you will need to use an AMI changeover. This is the AMI adapter. This plugs into the car in that center console storage, and then this is the audio port for you to plug in this audio out cable into, so that your screen can communicate with your car speakers. It is done through the auxiliary input mode on your Mercedes-Benz. Here we have some additional accessories. This is a microphone. Not all Mercedes models will need to use the aftermarket mic. Some can reuse the original Mercedes microphone. I always recommend to test that before you finish installing everything. Here we have the speaker. Again, it's the same thing as a microphone. You may not need to use this. This is for phone calls. Test your phone calls before you put everything back in the car. You may be able to get sound from the original Mercedes mic and your original car speakers rather than having to use these two accessories. Here we have a set of pry tools to help you pry everything out of the car when you're doing your install. This is a GPS antenna. This is only used for the native navigation built into the screen. If you're using CarPlay or your original Mercedes navigation, you will not need this antenna. This is a 4G antenna, only needed if you're going to be using a SIM card in the screen. This is the new bracket, which will replace the screen, and you'll mount the new bigger screen with that. And then this is a small set of hardware here so that you can finish the install once you get to that final step. And that's going to make our complete kit. We're going to show you how to put it in the car and how to disassemble everything and put it back in.
To begin the installation, we'll remove the trim panel around the radio with simple pry tools, and then with the pry tool, we'll go down to the air conditioning panel and remove that as well. There'll be connections on the back of it, but you can leave them be and just move on to the next step. Pull down the retaining metal latches that are holding the radio in place, and then you'll be able to slide the radio out easily. Once you have the radio slid out, you can undo the connection on the bottom right-hand corner so that you can pull it out fully. Once it's pulled out, you'll locate two screws underneath the AC vents, and you can undo those to then release the AC vents. You'll use your pry tools to just pop that out of place. On the back of the original AC vents, there is a connection on each side. These are tough to remove, but you can use a bit of force and they'll come out.
We'll then remove the retaining screws on each side of the original screen. Once the original screen is pulled out, you will locate two connections on the back end. The orange and black connection will no longer be used. You can remove this and tuck it back behind your dash. But the blue connection, this is the LVDS connection. We will be reusing this, so keep it handy and don't let it go down too far so that you'll lose track of it. Make sure you keep this ready to be plugged in. We'll put a towel down on the center console to make sure that the radio doesn't scratch anything up, and then we'll remove the main harness from the back. You can use a pry tool to help assist you, but it's just a latch mechanism. Once it's undone, you can pull it out of place. The orange fiber optic cord in the corner of this harness can be pulled out. There's a small latch mechanism that you can remove it with, and once you do have it pulled out, make sure to save it and be very delicate with this cord, as it will control the sound coming from the radio. So you do need to have this plugged in to the new harness that you plug into the back of the radio. We'll grab our new Android harness and plug the female end into the male end of this harness that came out of the original Mercedes radio. Plug it in and secure it with the latch mechanism so that it is firm. Now with the male end of the new Android harness, you'll go ahead and plug this into the back of the Mercedes radio. Make sure to secure it with the latch mechanism, and then be sure to transfer the fiber optic cord that came out of the back of the original harness into the same corner slot in the new harness. This fiber cord must be transferred, if not, you will not get any sound from the radio. We'll now begin to run the wires up and position them to be plugged into the back of the new screen. We'll plug in this black LVDS to the blue LVDS connection that came out of the back of the original screen, as you can see here. At this time, you will run the audio out cord and the two female USBs into the center console storage box and have them plugged in. This will require you to disassemble the center console storage to run the cords underneath and into the box, but it is required to get sound out of the screen. We'll now prepare the screen to be plugged in so we can test all of the basic functions before we continue with the installation. We'll now boot on the card to make sure the original radio interface is working. You want to make sure that this is all displaying correctly. You'll test the sound on AM/FM radio, then put the car into auxiliary mode and also test the sound from the Android screen. You can do that through the music icon there. Click on one of these default songs that are preloaded in the screen and make sure you have sound. You can also make sure your command knob is working and your rear view camera. If you have any issues with these functions, check out our Android screen how-to guides to help troubleshoot those problems. We've linked this video playlist in the description below. You can now continue by installing the Android screen bracket into the dash here as shown with the two screws. We'll now prepare the GPS antenna and the 4G antenna to be run through if you are using these. Most people do not need these, but depending on how you're planning on using the screen, you can decide yourself. We'll then prepare the new air vent panel. On the back of this air vent panel, you'll see this connection for the clock. Make sure you grab the clock connection that's included in your Android wiring harness and plug it in before installing it. Guys, we do our best to show all of the steps in these install videos, but as always, if you have additional questions and you purchase your screen with us, make sure to call us. We can help guide you whether to use a 4G antenna, the GPS antenna, what to plug in where, what size drill bits, anything like that we can help you with. Call us 786-242-5400 and make sure to get your orders in with us to give you the lifetime support on your purchase. We'll now begin to install the new air vent panel and run these connections through the appropriate holes to have them aligned in place so that we can have this all bolted into place. You can now torque the screws for the lower air vent panel in place to have it fixed in position. We'll now be running our 4G antenna, our GPS antenna, and our two USB inputs into the glove box. Now this is an optional step. You can always run the cords to a different position if you'd like, but this is the way that we're doing it. We'll start by removing the cover with our pry tool. It's just a couple of snaps, and then we'll undo these screws in order to remove the panel. Remove these screws from the glove box. and remove the screws from below. Once the glove box is freed, you can drill a hole on the edge of the glove box here so you can run the 2 USB heads through it in order to have access. As for the 4G and the GPS antenna, you can run them up through the top of the glove box so that you do not have to drill any holes, and just peel the adhesive sticker off of the back of them in order to stick them right to the top of the glove box as shown here. Once completed, you can put the glove box back into position. The 4G and GPS antenna will not be visible, but you will have full access to the 2 USBs as you can see. We'll now retorque the screws and reinstall the plastic snap panel on the side. You can begin to tighten the bracket for the screen with the air vents as shown here. And prepare the radio to be pushed back into place. You can make sure to push down these wires as far back and down as possible, reinstall this connector on the corner of the radio, and push the radio back into position. This may take you a few tries as the wiring behind the radio could give you a hard time. This is really a trial and error process that I recommend you go through. Move the wires around as much as you can until you find the perfect position, and don't be afraid to use a little bit of force and put muscle into it to get the radio back into place. Retorque the radio retaining screws. Snap the air vents back into position. Reconnect all of the connectors on the back of the screen. And reinstall the trim piece around the edge of the radio. Your new Android Command screen is now installed on your Mercedes GLE, GL, ML, or GLS class. Enjoy the latest of CarPlay, Android Auto, streaming movies, playing games, and much more. If you're interested in keeping your screen up to date and learning all of the newest tips and tricks, subscribe to our channel and we'll keep you posted on all of the newest for your new screen. Any questions, give us a call at 786-242-5400. My name is Alex at accessoryinternational.com, and thank you so much for tuning in.